Hi, I'm Bukeka. I'm the B.
And I'm Enolia, and I'm the E.
Together, we are Be Empowered.
The universe is calling, calling, calling. The universe is calling me to be. It's calling me to listen more, talk less, and hold the light. The universe is calling me to be.
We believe that deep in our souls, we hold conversations, but for whatever reasons, we do not always take the opportunity to speak from our hearts.
We want you to imagine that you're sitting right here with us now, sipping a cup of tea or coffee at our dining room table, and we're having that conversation. You know, the one that encourages, inspires, and motivates you to the infinite possibilities that your life has to offer.
Let us help you to expand your imagination, to create your beautiful dream into reality. It starts right here and right now, because the universe is calling you to be.
The universe is calling me to be. The universe is calling, calling. The universe is calling me to be. It's calling me.
So, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Be Empowered. And we're so happy to be here. And I'm here with my beautiful, beautiful friend Bukeka Blakemore. Say hello.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, Enolia. Talking about beautiful. Look at that beautiful smile.
So here we are. You can't see us, but hopefully you can feel our smiles. I have a topic for you today, and that topic is going to be about lifting self-limitations and how we are able to overcome belief systems, trauma, things that have happened to us, around us, and that we have been able to finally overcome, whether it's personally or professionally. Because when do you realize that you're in your own way? When do you recognize that you're stuck in a place, you can't move forward, and the reason you can't move forward is because something happened to you? How do you get through that story? How do you move through the story of that circumstance, that trauma, that issue, or even that belief system? Let's have you start that off, Bukeka.
Well, girl, this is something that's been on my heart to share. Once again, we begin with noticing. It's that moment when you notice that something is off. It's that moment when you notice that you're feeling a physical sensation that maybe you hadn't felt before, or you're starting to feel contracted. So what I mean by that is that feeling in your body where you feel tight. We get it in our gut, we get it in our shoulders, we get it in our neck, we get it in our forehead, we get it in our fingers. We feel, or we start to notice that we're physically clenching, right? I am encouraging today is that with the next time we notice that, not be oblivious to it, and to get a sense of what is happening in our mind that is causing that to happen. And I think when we start to do that, we'll be able to begin that process of real releasing of self-limitation, because we can actually see the visceral effects of not doing it.
I want to add to that is that also when you feel that way, realize that you've just bumped up against your boundary. You've just bumped up against the place of where your comfort level ends and where the fear begins. That you've bumped up against that boundary, that limiting belief that goes, if you go too far now, I can't believe you. I can't have this happen because this is too confrontational. This is too much for my ego to take on, my mind to take on. You've just gone beyond what I'm willing to be open about. And therefore, I'm actually feeling a physical response to the fact that it's got to stop. I don't want to hear anymore. And so what happens is that the body physically shuts down because the mind said it had enough. Now, isn't that interesting?
That is very interesting.
And being in observance of that, if you don't recognize that that's what just happened, you're just thinking that I got to figure out a way. I've got to work out a way. I got to get to the other side, but this doesn't feel right. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why I feel this way.
Right.
And this is the explanation. You've just hit that boundary. So in recognizing that we hit that boundary, that is our limitation. And that is our self-limitation that basically said, I've had enough. I don't want any more. And we physically shut down. Why do we do this? Why do we do this? Why is it so hard to go past that point?
Well, I think that physical constriction has something to do with it as well. I mean, that's when you notice that you're in that state, it's a challenge to make a choice to get out of it or not, because you don't know what it is that you're opening yourself up for. You're afraid of that anyway. So moving out of that could be that thing that we've talked about before in terms of your comfort zone. It's the comfort zone of getting past a very uncomfortable feeling is probably more comfortable than we think, because to get out of that, to unclench it, means that we have no idea what we're up for, if we can even withstand or handle what is next after that unclenching, after letting go of the fear. I guess it's that whole thing of fear of not just success, but fear of, I guess, this the unknown. So we know that we're uncomfortable. We're clinched with that. We're comfortable with that. If we let go, gosh, that's like the floodgates opening up. It's just fear, I guess.
I agree with you, and that's one perspective, but there are times when we know. There are times that we know good and well that this is where we stop believing, and you've just crossed the line, and we've just basically said, I refuse to believe it. I refuse to acknowledge it. The sky is blue to a point, and then guess what? It turns red and orange. Nope, I don't believe it. It could be there plain as day, but people refuse to believe it. Why? Because it challenges the belief system. And if it challenges the belief system, it can't exist, because this is my world. This is how far I've allowed my world to stretch. And you've gone beyond my world, and I refuse to believe that. So I've shut down, and I just choose not to, a decision made, choose not to go beyond that boundary. And I'm going to give you a perfect example of this. Look at Einstein. Einstein came up with mathematical series, and of course I picked math because I was a math major, but came up with mathematical series that people were not ready to embrace. And because they were not ready to embrace, it can't exist. And so what did the great minds of math say? That can't be true. You're foolish. They ridiculed him, called him foolish, called him a fool, isolated him, marked him. And when you look at how we have treated people throughout history that are inventors, are innovators, that have the mindset to go above and beyond where the typical person has thought all the time, you're going to find the same story. People have limiting beliefs because it makes them feel safe. It makes them feel comforted. It makes them feel able to operate within the auspices of their limitations, whether it's limited thinking, limited being of where they choose to be, limited activity. How many times have we heard, oh, I wouldn't do that, that's scary. I'm afraid to do that. I would never do that. Are you crazy? You must be crazy because I can't do that. We impose our limited thinking and our limited belief systems and project it onto anything and everybody we can. And I think this is just fact, not conjecture.
Absolutely. I mean, we impose it on other people, we impose on ourselves. How many times have I said, I just don't think I'm ever going to jump out of a plane. uh, just don't think that's ever going to happen. And but you never know. That might be something that I decide to do at some point, just because to get over that limiting belief. It might be something that I do just as a practice of challenging limiting beliefs. I would rather it be that than the necessity to jump out of a plane for whatever reason there might be. So I would much rather allow myself to grow and expand than stay stuck in a limiting belief. There are so many things, Enolia. It's so interesting that you talked about innovators, because innovators are the minds that move us into greater forms of expression outside of the limiting beliefs, right? We depend on the innovators. Every single day of our life, every moment of our life, we depend on individuals who said, I will not limit my thinking. We depend on them. Yes, we do. And so if we imagine how wonderful it is, these gifts that these innovators have brought to us, it doesn't mean that we should negate the fact that we have that own brilliance within us. Just imagine what it would be like if we decided to move past our limiting beliefs. For the listeners out there, what is that limiting belief that you have? Can you imagine what your life would be like if you moved past that limiting belief? What would it be?
So I dare to say to our listeners, what is it that gets you to surpass your limiting belief? And I'm going to tell you to come into your heart space. I'm going to tell you that those innovators who were able to go beyond what the status quo believed in are in their heart. And I say that they were in your heart because let's talk about ego versus the heart. Our ego, our mind, our brain, mentally, we have a bubble around us all the time, and we go, this is how I like to operate. This is where I like to be. This is what makes me move forward, come back. This is what makes me feel comfortable. I know this world. It's like my old coat and comfortable shoes. I know how to operate in it. I know how to work through it. I know it. And then comes the heart's desire that says, I want to go beyond this space. I want to go beyond space. I want to try something new. Let's try a new restaurant. Let's try a new educational topic. Let's try a new sports activity. Let's try something new above and beyond where this boundary has been. The heart will always desire more. And do I dare to say, so does the soul. Mm-hmm. And so there we are with the heart's desire versus our ego saying, but I'm comfortable here. I know everything here. Why do I have to try anything new? Well, I don't know that part. And my belief system basically says, here's the rules, here's the boundaries. You're about to go beyond the part I don't know. What could happen? And the polarity of our mental capacity basically says, well, this could happen. You can get hurt. You can get, and the fear kicks in. And then all of the negative aspects of what could happen, what should happen, what potentially could happen kicks in. Of judgments so that we don't do it. And that we ignore that heart's calling and desire, or that soul calling. And we go, oh, well, you may think that, but I would never do that. That's just not in my capacity to do it. Well, of course it's not in your capacity to do it. The brain is ruling. The brain will always rule. Here's where I'm comfortable at. Here's my boundaries. Stay in them. and don't make a change.
You know, Enolia, I was thinking about the heart when it comes to your heart's desire. So we all know that none of us flipped the switch this morning to turn on the heart to beat. It's consistent, it's there. I just want our listeners to just imagine how amazing that is. That your heart is literally pumping energy throughout your body every single day, every single moment, every single nanosecond of your life. And you don't have to give it any type of direction to do that. It's doing it. It's gonna do it. Okay. So now I take you into your heart's desire. Same thing. Your heart's desire is going to be there. Your heart's desire is not going anywhere. It is going to stick with you. And if you have a limiting belief that those heart's desires cannot manifest itself or cannot come to fruition, you're constricting the heart. Your heart desires, your physical heart desires for you to be able to do anything. And your heart's desire is your ability to do whatever it is that you want to do. So if there's a reason to get out of that boundary space, just like you said, Enolia, go to the heart. The heart is reminding you every moment of your life that you are here for a purpose and a reason.
And I just want to comment too, because a lot of people will say, well, I don't think with my heart, I think with my head, and the heart isn't meant to think. And I want to correct you, for those of you who actually say this, because the Heart Math Institute out of California has now proven that the heart is capable of thinking, that it actually has neurons in a body of whatever it is that thinking is around it, surrounding it, that allows you to think with your heart. The actual structure, physical structure is there. And if you don't trust what I'm saying, I invite you to please do your homework. Don't just take my word for it. Learn about this. And then I want to bring it down to another, okay, for those of you who don't know me, this is my scientific side, okay? I've been working with Dr. Linda Tello, and I just mentioned her too, because she and I have been having fun around learning about the heart. I've learned a lot from her. That the brain has two sides to it, a right side and left side. And anything or any organ that has two sides has polarity. And therefore, it's going to be polarized in terms of going to the right side or going to the left. And think of it like a pendulum. Sometimes you're too far to the right, sometimes you're too far to the left, sometimes you're right in the middle and the center. But there is polarity in every thought that comes across, because it's coming across the brain, and the brain has polarity, and there are two sides to that thinking. You can do it masculine and feminine. You could say right side, left side. You could do it any way you want, but the polarity exists. Now let's go to the heart. The heart has 4 quadrants. But did you know that if you took the heart, physically took the heart out of a person's body, and we always see it in the heart shape, that if you unrolled the heart, that it is one muscle, that it literally is a muscle that is rolled, but there is no two sides to it. It is one muscle. So therefore, it being one muscle, there is no polarity with that heart. That when the thought comes through that heart, it is singular. It is knowing, and it is understood of a longing and a wanting. And there's no polarity to it. So when it comes through the heart, I would say, if it's my inner voice, you're supposed to be doing it. You're supposed to be trusting it. It's thinking and it's telling you what to do, and we ignore it because we go back to our polarized center and we go, should I, shouldn't I, should I, shouldn't I? Well, it's not going to make me safe. I know I desire it, but here's the justification of not doing it. And thereby imposing that self-limitation and boundary all around us. So yes, folks, I did go there, and there's this phenomenal video that Dr. Linda Pello turned me on to, and you can look it up on YouTube, and it's about the heart being one muscle. And I suggest you look at it. I don't recall exactly the name of that video, but it's there. You learn so much. Take the time. So Bukeka, I'll throw it over to you. I've gone on this long diatribe.
I absolutely love everything that you said. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. That was so knowledgeable, and I so appreciated everything that you said about it. The heart, as you were talking, I don't want to think with my heart. I want to think with my mind, blah, blah, blah. What is the strongest muscle in the body?
The heart.
The heart.
The heart.
Again, this whole facade, that love, that compassion, that peace, that, all of those things that are heart driven, really, are, is anything weak is such a facade. It's such a facade. Mm-hmm. And why we would do that, I don't know. Why would we begin to put this polarized thinking and its ability to accomplish, succeed, or move in a direction of goal reached versus the strongest muscle in the body, which is the heart? Those of us that have the experience of going in the gym and working out, we know that when a muscle is stronger, it has the ability to, it moves all of the junk, the unnecessary things out of the way, right? That's another conversation we've been having. As we strengthen the muscle, and the strongest muscle we have in our body is the heart. When we strengthen that muscle, we allow for those things that no longer serve us to move out of the way. It is the heart. It is the mother heart. It is the soul father. It is those, and excuse to all my going off in those directions, but that is so powerful that we recognize the physical heart, what it does for us physically, spiritually, and mentally, and ethereally as well.
Yes, absolutely. So when we go there, we recognize that the heart brings so much more to the table. Then it is the heart that helps us to release that limited belief system and that limited thinking. It is the acknowledgement that the polarization of the mind come into balance to say that I may not know everything, and that I need to go beyond that limited belief system or that limited thinking and explore the unknown of what it is that I just don't know as something is presented to me. Because if our greatest innovators didn't do it, we'd never have the electricity. We'd never have anything that gives us comfort levels, because every one of those inventors and innovators went beyond what was presented as, this is it, this is the best we can do. They always thought above and beyond what was most obvious in front of them. Never saying that there's a such thing as, no, it can't be done. Yes, there is. There's always something that can go beyond what is, if you allow yourself to expand. Expand your thinking, expand your knowledge base, expand your belief system, expand your love of what it is that you want to bring to fruition. Trust yourself, bring in that clarity, And don't shut down because it's not obvious to you. Don't shut down because you're not aware of it. Just because you're not aware of the thinking or the scenario or the knowledge doesn't mean it doesn't exist. And in understanding that, that's how you grow. That's how you grow at every level, at every age, at every step of a process, is understanding that there's always more. More seen, more unseen, but more. And I just want to drive that point home.
Wow. So, Enolia, all I can say is for those who are listening, if you have been sitting on something in terms of your heart desire, move past your limiting belief. It's going to be worth it. It's going to be so worth it for you to move past that. Go into your heart space, believe in yourself that whatever it is that you want can be yours. Get out of that limited thinking, get out of that constricted physical feeling that you have whenever you think about it. Let yourself, let it go. Do those things that allow you to move in the direction of your heart's desire. Just do it.
And allow yourself to grow. Allow yourself to expand. Sometimes we have to take baby steps outside of the boundaries. Sometimes we have to challenge our own belief systems because they came from our parents, they came from our circumstances, and our parents did the best that they knew how at the time that they were born, and things have changed. And so it is up to us to look at our current circumstance, realize what needs to be expanded, what's challenging us, and understand that it is okay to entertain and to explore new avenues, new information. And we take it in, we process it, we set and establish different boundaries. We understand that we limit things so that we can work and operate within our worlds. But do not be so closed-minded that that world is so small that you can't see past getting out of your own way. Widen that world so that you can respect and understand that if the goal is to get to the center, that people are going to be coming from every direction, and it doesn't make their words or ways or methods of getting to that center wrong. It just makes it different. And that we are all capable of getting to that one goal, coming from different perspectives, directions, value systems, belief systems, that one doesn't have to overpower the other through judgment. And one doesn't have to degrade, demean, belittle, or stand on top of in order to get to the center. That we can all walk side by side with our belief systems, get to that center, and everybody receive that achievement by making that vision come to fruition. So I'll leave it at that.
I think that's perfect. Thank you so much, Enolia. And thank
Thank
you,
you.
listeners, for tuning in once again. I just hope that you can feel the joy, the immense joy that Enolia and I have for this Be Empowered podcast. We hope you are having a wonderful, wonderful day, and we look forward to having you tune in again soon. Thank you so much. Anything else, Enolia?
Thank you. Thank you for being the wonderful you and for listening and having an open mind and a loving heart and knowing that all that is said is with the best of intentions. Thank you again for listening. Bye.
Bye-bye.
We hope you enjoyed the show. We look forward to bringing you more shows in the future. To learn more about our co-hosts, check out their websites, www.bukekastyle.com and www.enolia.live. Learn about their masterclasses for conscious transformation, their personal coaching, along with their international retreats and expeditions. Are you an entrepreneur looking for another line of income? Check out www.planetmarketing.com/Enolia and www.planetmarketing.com/bblakemore. We are here to transform your life. Thank you for listening.